let's see if it'll record. Or Melissa, you may have to just click on record.
It's recording. Go right ahead.
There we go. Now it's recording. Hi, everybody, and welcome to GenFriends. I'm your host, Cheri Hudson-Passy from Carolina Girl Genealogy, and I just need to let y'all know that I am in a hotel, and so my Wi-Fi keeps going in and out. So if I freeze, I'm sorry, but this lovely panel of Laura Hedgecock from Treasure Chest and Memories, I'm going to remember to introduce you guys, and Melissa Barker, our archive lady.
Hi, everybody.
And Jenny, here, I'm going to say it wrong again. Why can't I do this? Why
do I
do this? Haran. Every time I know what it is. It's like when you know something and then you doubt yourself, right?
Just go. Say it fast. If you say it fast, it just comes out.
And I have not had any sleep since 1 a.m. and it's now Utah time 7 o'clock. So I'm a little slap happy. But we wanted to go ahead and talk about day 5 of relative race, and some of our other friends may pop in. Because it's a totally different time and day than when we normally record, since I was traveling. So anyway, day 5. How did we get to day 5? I don't even get it. We're at day 5.
Seems halfway.
Like I know, halfway.
That's
halfway.
True.
Yeah, feels like we just started. I wanted to just start with the song, the Irish Blessing. I thought that was such a wonderful way to start, and I love how they're being able to send recordings to each other now instead of just text messages, because sometimes a text message can come across way different than you wanted it to come across, because you can't hear the inflection in anybody's voice, and all you hear, and sometimes you read it in a different way that they meant it. But when you can send a video like that, you understand what they're saying to you, and they can still joke around. But I loved that blessing. I thought that was so pretty that Lizzie did.
She has a nice voice too.
She does.
Yeah. She had a very nice voice. So I really, really liked that. And if anybody took any notes about what was going on before they left, please remind me. I've been awake since 1 o'clock. I can't remember.
Well, Red Team, they went and showed her the house where her sister lived.
That's right. They did.
Yeah. In New Orleans.
Yeah, New Orleans.
Yeah, they did do that. And that's, it's always a wonderful thing to go back and see where your family lived. We talk about ancestors a lot, but just family, where family lived, and memories. I mean, she didn't have memories, but she could see that her niece had these wonderful memories and how much it was touching her. So I thought that was just really sweet and we got to see it, that they filmed it, and we got to see it.
Yeah. And then Callie, go ahead.
That was kind of a nice way for her niece to have a reason to go back and really be able to share her mom instead of just be alone with her memories.
Right.
So it was probably cathartic.
Oh, I'm sure it was. What were you going to say, Melissa?
I was just going to say that Callie's relative gave her a pickle recipe.
Yes, and it was on that.
Yes,
like
plate, like a decoupage. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Doug. I am a big fan of Doug. He is a cool guy.
Yes.
And he's just cool so guy. Genuinely, happy. I mean, I don't know.
And the dancing.
And the dance.
Yes.
So cute.
I mean, that's the last thing I would do on TV. I would probably sing before I would dance.
But you can see, you can just see how similar he is to her, where she's just kind of goofy and just amazing.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun to watch. That was really
that
fun
little scene with her waking up under the feather comforter.
Well, they played that immunity up, didn't they?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, so I don't know if we're going team by team here, but since we're on black, my thinking was, did they do that on purpose to know that nobody would get eliminated if they came in last? I just wondered if that was a strategy.
Yeah.
And I don't know how
I've always said when they have immunity, they should always make sure they come in last.
Yeah, to save the other teams.
But a lot of them always done that.
No, that's true. Hasn't always been that way. They fought because they want whatever reward or benefit or whatever for the next day. And so I just thought that was really
but
funny.
With two teams with 2 strikes.
Yeah.
it is the higher road, then you're not going
Right.
to put someone down into the strike
Exactly.
zone.
Well, hopefully at some point we'll get to ask that and see if they did that on purpose. At some point,
Yeah.
I hope we'll get to ask them. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so then they're off on day 5.
Yep.
Running the race. We got the song that was so special. That song was wonderful as Lizzie was singing it, and they get to the challenge. It seems like they're just boom getting to the challenge really quick so that we have more time to see what they're
I
doing.
was surprised that, because I have driven from New Orleans to Slidell, and it's like this, it's where all the highways interchange, and it's like this big, and I was like, they're gonna have problems, but they didn't show any, so good.
Yeah, that was
And
good.
then blue team went to Nashville.
Yes, I thought about you.
Yes, so yeah. And then actually I have a connection to Louisiana. I had an aunt and uncle that live there, and I still have cousins that live in Covington, which is not too far from Slidell. And I visited there, so I know that area. But
it's always fun when they're in places where you've
yeah.
been, and that's happened several times in South Carolina and once in Albuquerque. One of the teams was in Albuquerque, and I lived there for a while, so it's really fun. And I remember on that one they kept getting lost, and I kept saying the volcanoes are to the west, the mountains are to the east. Of course, they'd already filmed it, but yeah, so that's always fun when they're in your old stomping grounds. So who wants to talk to us about the challenge?
It was called Picture Plank. And what you had to do, there was a picture, one on each side, something different, and they had to do kind of like I don't know,
it's like a jigsaw,
match up all these planks so that it would make the picture. And it was a picture of Dan on one side smiling and Dan on the other side pouting. And but you had to match it exact. The entire planks had to match exactly. And so 2 of the teams timed out because they just could not get some of the detail, the minute details. They couldn't get it right.
Yeah, I felt so bad for him because
you wouldn't think that it would be that hard, but really, if you think about it, I mean, I guess so. I mean, it's big. You're up on a ladder, and
I think they focused too much on the faces. They could get the faces sort of right, but you had to get all of it right, the background and everything, and that's where they have trouble.
It would be really easy to get it on the wrong side, because if it's not his mouth,
right,
then it seems like it's fitting, but then the background doesn't fit, and you have to switch it around.
Yeah.
And then red team gave the pouty Dan a nickname. They called that one Dan Bummerham. I thought that was cute.
Oh, that was so funny. And as we were live tweeting, Thaddeus was on there, and he said he needs to, because that Dan the man, he needs to get that patented in his name and start selling merch, Dan the man. So.
I think he's there's been too many other Dan the Mans.
Maybe, I don't know, but somebody could jump, somebody could jump in it and get it. So, but I thought that was really, really funny. Anybody want to say anything else about the challenge?
It seemed to go pretty quick. I mean, the other 2 teams that timed out, that was a bummer. But it seemed to be, other than that, they just did it. I mean, blue team, Mitchell kind of got really upset. He got a little frustrated.
Yeah.
Which, if you're not a puzzle person, I'm sort of a puzzle person. I can do crosswords and things, but and I'm a visual person, so maybe I could do something like that. If you're not a visual person, I think that would be very difficult for you.
And really, just as a viewer, I was thinking, oh, go ahead, Laura.
When you're against the clock, it's a totally different thing than sitting at your table doing your jigsaw.
Right. Or just us watching it, right? Yeah. But even as a viewer, I couldn't figure out what was wrong. I was like,
they couldn't either. They were looking right at it, and they were just like, what is wrong? Because they just did not see it.
Yeah. So thumbs up, thumbs down for family reunion book. What do you think?
I think it'd be a good one, because I think about how easy it would be to set something like that up.
Yeah, and do maybe ancestors or something. That would be cool.
Yeah, that's true. That could be cool.
Very fun. So, okay, it's going in the book. Our mythical,
Yeah.
real embrace
book.
family reunion book, our mythical book. Okay, let's which team do you want to talk about first as far as who they met?
I wrote down the blue team first.
Okay.
And the one thing that I noticed too was they were still super stressed out from the challenge right as they drove up. And
Yes.
she was even telling Mitchell, I'm getting, he's like, go right on, she's like, I got it. So, they really climbed out of the car, just still really uptight. And then they had to transition. So, so it was Tanisha's cousin, whose name is Mackenzie. And I did not understand how they connect. And I went back and listened a second time, whether mom's side or dad's side or who they share. But she was saying it sounded like relative race didn't know how they connected at first, because she said she was working with the genealogist trying to build up the trees. And I thought, well, that's a dream come true for a genealogy nerd.
Exactly. And sometimes we do connect with people, but we got to figure out how. Sometimes that connection is not clear, especially with DNA. You can get a match and you're like, well, I'm not quite sure where they fit into the family. So sounds like that's what was going on with that. So
hey, Mary's here. Maybe she's researched it and can tell us.
Oh yeah. Let's ask her. All right. So Mary Kircher Roddy's here. Laura's got a question for you already.
Oh.
Team Blue. So Tanisha and her cousin Mackenzie, how do they connect? Did you do the research?
No, not that I recall. I thought you were going to ask me what I had for dinner. Tacos, but no.
We said, well, maybe Mary married it, but Mary.
Yeah. Wake up here.
But yeah, we were talking about how sometimes even with a DNA match, you got to play with it to see where and how people fit. So sometimes it's not clear at the beginning.
They use the word cousin very, very broadly.
Yeah.
Very broadly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it might not even have been first, because then it would have been more obvious. Okay. Yeah.
Mary, is there anything that you want to throw in about the beginning of the show? We've talked to kind of, how it all started and what happened and
no, I'll just chime in when you guys say something and it strikes my mind.
We just don't want to miss something that you wanted to talk about. And we talked about the challenge. So, and now we're just going through each of the teams, and we've only covered blue team so far. So yeah. All right. Anybody want to pick another team?
Well, green team, he met a cousin.
Yes.
His cousin John and John's wife Gail. I find it interesting, and none of it's because of the age of those particular contestants, but they're, other than his sister, everybody else has been pretty older. And so this couple was older as well.
Well, he was the brother of the one that they met when we were scared they were going to fall off the road. So they were brothers. Aren't there like 14 of them?
14 of them. Yeah.
McDonald brothers.
Yes.
He was a hoot. I like.
He was a hoot. That whole family is a hoot. That whole family is a hoot. Yes. And they had that. They're so big that the park wouldn't fit them anymore, and they built that great big
pavilion.
Thank you, pavilion that they were using.
He got an invitation to the next reunion, which I paused it to see on the paper.
It was like August, wasn't it? So it's already happened.
Past August, like 2 months ago.
So we have to ask him about that.
I'm saying we're gonna have to ask him if he went.
Yes, I'll bet he did, and I'll bet he'll share some pictures.
Yeah, they were showing pictures of some of their family reunions.
Yeah,
and it made me think about genealogists.
They need the book. We need to get that book to them.
I know, but it made me start thinking, because I have a family reunion actually story that I may have told before, but years ago when we went to my cousin's wedding in Ohio, where all my family's from, me and my brother went out with my dad in a car ride for him to show us all the different places where he went to school, where he used to live, where my mom lived, and he had to walk forever and ever to go to her house. And we were driving along, and all of a sudden he says, well, there's Grandma Wise's house, and that's where we used to have the family reunions. And you have to understand, I have been talking to my dad for over 30 years about family and genealogy, and he never once mentioned a family reunion. And I said, what family reunion? He says, well, the family reunions we used to have every year. And I said, wait a minute. And so but this is a perfect example of it only takes one person to pass away for something to disappear. Exactly. I said, well, how come we don't have them anymore? Our whole year's lives have never had a family reunion. And he said, because when Grandma Wise died, they stopped. And that was back in the 60s.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, there's lots of things in your family history that you don't know about because someone died and they didn't keep it going.
Exactly.
But one of the things you should check family name and reunion on newspaper websites.
Oh, yes.
Because
absolutely.
there are so many articles.
Great idea,
on
Mary.
Not my family, but the column next to them. Yeah.
That's a great tip.
Yeah. You get huge, stories about, and so many details, and
they'll list who came from,
right, and from where they came from.
Yes, absolutely.
Little old-time newspaper. I even found one in the 50s where my in-laws went to see her sister and her sister's husband at their new lake up at Mackinac, their new lake house or something.
Wow.
Anyway, it made the newspaper.
It didn't take much to make the newspaper.
It's a 4-hour drive, so it's
true, Mary.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, Grandma has a toothache. That makes the newspaper.
That made the newspaper. Exactly. I've got a little thing that says Mr. David Doherty took his daughter out for a walk today. That was my grandmother's mother was the little girl, and her
sweet.
They were just so it made the newspaper just because he took her for a walk down the street.
That's a town where not much is happening. So,
okay,
the McDonald reunion, they said it's a 4-day event that 150 people or more show up for. Where do they sleep, all these people?
They must camp or something. It sounds like they have a lot of land or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can build a pavilion.
Yeah. I'm so jealous. What a wonderful thing that they've kept going and it didn't stop because somebody died, That's so wonderful. That's so wonderful. It's good for their kids and the generations that are growing up to have that foundation of that family. I just think that's so special. Let's talk about Team Red. Who did Giselle meet?
She met her nephew.
Her nephew.
Looks just like her.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they never ever mentioned it, but he was wearing a necklace with a picture of his mom.
They didn't mention it.
They never said anything. And I thought of Mary. And I thought of Mary because Mary makes heritage jewelry. I guess you still do, but and I thought about Mary and the jewelry that she makes and stuff, but they never mentioned it, so I just didn't know why. Maybe they cut it out, but
I'm saying it just didn't have enough room because we hear from the teams all the time afterwards that, oh, this was in there, but they had to cut it out, and I wish they didn't cut it out. The cars have to stay running the whole time, is what we learned live tweeting.
Yeah.
Did you read that one, Jenny?
That.
Yes, I did.
Explain. I don't know because I don't.
Yeah, Jenny, can you remember? Do you want to explain? It was Joe that put it. He said they have to keep the cars running because if they don't keep the cars running when they get there, the camera stops.
Right.
Yes, they lose the recording,
and they can lose the recording.
Oh,
they lose that recording.
Okay.
Yeah. And them getting out, whatever they're filming in that part. And he said, Joe Henline was saying that they lost some of something really important that he can't get back, that he wished that they hadn't lost, because he said you're so excited and you're getting there and you just forget and you turn off the car. And sadly, I guess something that he and Jericho were doing, it got lost. Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
hopefully they have fixed that, because that does not sound like an unfixable problem. You just
Yeah, I know with
come up with
technology
an
we have
adjourn-
today.
Yeah, you did. That's just a wiring issue.
You would
Yeah,
think.
I mean, because we see them when they're leaving the house and navigating
Mhm.
out,
But
and
there's
they
just
must stop
something-
for
yeah.
gas or something.
Right. There was
So-
Yeah, but
something
I'm
going
sure they have
on.
a camera in the car that they're talking about. When the car went off, that camera went off, but they just put
Yeah.
that to a battery
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
run on a
surely
separate circuit.
they fixed it by now, because I said that is so sad. He goes, yeah, that's really
Yeah.
sad.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. So we've talked about Blue. Did we get everybody?
No, well, we didn't really talk about Team Black yet, did we? As far
No.
as who
Not
she
at all.
Oh, as
met?
far as who they met, go ahead, Jenny. Do you want to do that one?
Yeah, I mean, Patrick met his other sister. I didn't
Yeah.
write her name down though. What was her name?
Lindsay.
Lindsay.
And you knew it the
And,
minute they pulled up. You knew who that was,
oh,
and he
gosh.
knew.
He
Yeah.
did too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know,
So-
she had a story to share
She
with
did.
him, which you know that his biological parents were high school sweethearts, and then
Yes.
you know they kind of broke up or whatever. She was dating somebody
Mhm.
else, and she ended up getting pregnant. And he asked, according
Yeah.
to Lindsay, you know, he asked, you know, if the baby was his, and she said no. And so that was it. They graduated, you know, parted ways,
Yeah.
and that she felt really bad that you know that you know his whether the theory was, you know, did the biological mother know that definitely that you know that the baby was you know his
Yeah.
biological father's or not. And I think that I think that gave him at least something to hold on to a little bit, to like understand.
Yeah.
And she was, I mean, the sister was like so happy to
She
see
always
him
is.
and get
Yeah.
to know him. And you know, but she did say, you know, if dad had known, you
Yes.
know, that he
Yes.
would have raised
And I
you.
thought you were
would have
talking
been with
about
us.
Cassie, 'cause she's so. I love how she reacts when.
Yeah. And she's so into
Yeah.
it. But yeah, I mean, that was,
Yeah.
I think that was pretty much it. Did I leave
Yeah.
So
anything
there
out?
was that Patrick had grown up or lives 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I think for them, that was also part of the whole frustration, is that they were so close yet never.
Yeah.
And didn't even know it. And he did talk about how, you know, for a few minutes about what ifs, but then again, he said, but then the life that I have, I wouldn't have that life. And so,
Yes.
Right.
do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
just, and how just one decision,
One decision.
how one decision can affect so many lives. And,
Right.
you know, I'm sure she probably either knew that her new boyfriend wasn't the father, and she wanted that relationship perhaps, and didn't want to ruin that relationship, you know. And when you're
Yeah.
that young, you know, sometimes we don't make the best choices for ourselves, you know. So
Well, that's another lesson to us as genealogists as well. As we're doing genealogy, we run into so many times where we're in a fork in the road or something with our
Mhm.
research, and we have to try to think like our ancestors. Well, okay,
Yes.
what decision did they make at this point? We
Yeah.
have no idea what decision they made. Did they make a
Yeah.
decision to move? Did they make a decision to go back home? You know, what did they? And so I think it's a lesson for us to really broaden our research horizons and to not
Mhm.
be very narrow-minded or closed-minded or have
Yeah.
blinders on thinking, well, this
Right.
is what they would do because that's what we would do.
We have
You
no
know,
idea. Yeah.
we have no idea. And like you said, though, that one
Unless we can prove
decision-
it. Yeah. Unless we can prove it with records. We have no idea, with or a
Right.
journal or something like
Right.
that. Yeah.
And I'm not talking about just having a child. I'm talking about
Yeah.
just deciding to move somewhere. That could
Right.
affect an entire family. One
Yes.
decision. And so I think as genealogists, I think we miss sometimes the fact that our ancestors made those decisions. And so that's why we have brick walls, or that's why we can't
Yes.
find the records we need to find,
Right.
because we're not open up to the idea that they made
Yeah.
decisions that on paper
Right.
don't look like a very smart decision, or doesn't look like a
Yeah.
decision they should
Yeah.
make.
Go ahead, Mary.
Corollary to that, though, is like when you're looking at census records, which we all do,
Mhm.
you know, they're 10 years apart. And just because
Yeah.
they were here in 1870 and here in 1880 does not mean that they were here in 1872 or 1877. There could be a lot of other things that could have happened, and they just wound up back there for
exactly.
showed up on the census. So
I agree, Mary, wholeheartedly, because 10 years is a very long time. And I don't think genealogists that find their ancestors in the census every 10 years in the same place. Now, maybe they stayed there all that time, but I don't know that a lot of us delve into those 10 years and even entertain the possibility they may have gone somewhere else and come back.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's something to think about.
Well, and that's why you always look for other records. I know if it was my grandfather's World War I draft card that showed me he lived all his life in Virginia, but his draft card, he registered in Detroit. And so I found out he was learning about auto mechanics and actually lived in Detroit for that 1 year. So it would be that I would otherwise never have thought to look in Detroit for my grandpa.
Very cool. Very cool. And I agree. I think that we get our own preset notions of our families, you know, instead of trying to find records to see what actually happened. We think we've got that story already, and we're trying to find records to validate our story versus to see what really happened. And so that's why, and I think that's why a lot of times we get so shocked. And that's why a lot of times we make family members mad, because we debunk those family stories by finding records like, no, that's not what really happened, even though it sounds cool and makes our family sound cool. Nope, it didn't really happen. So so who knows what really happened with Patrick, and maybe, I don't know, maybe he'll learn something more as the race progresses about that. So speaking of the race progressing, what about the results? That was an interesting result, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, anybody want to go through those results?
Well, fourth place. Go ahead, Laura.
Oh, I was just going to say that despite timing out on the puzzle thing, blue team ended up in first, and I think
I know, I was so shocked. Yeah,
I think they were too.
Yeah, they were too. And then
red team got third.
Yes, it was blue and then green, and then
I thought red got third.
Green got second.
Yeah, blue, green, red.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then black.
Yeah.
But in the past,
guys, I'm the one who's been up since 1 o'clock.
Yeah. I can't read my own handwriting. That's my problem over here. I'm usually in bed at this time myself. So
in the past, when they had the immunity, they gave the team that was like second to the last the strike. And they didn't do that this time. They said no strike.
Exactly.
So nobody got a strike.
You're absolutely right that in the past they gave them the strike because the team with the immunity couldn't get a strike. So that makes me wonder if this is just because I thought to myself, what? Wait, well, that's great. I'm glad nobody got a strike, but you're absolutely right.
So it did. I mean, it's going to have or could have an impact on the game. I mean, those people, Team Black, slept in and dilly-dallied their way, across the drive. But, would they have made that same choice?
Yeah.
If because having fewer teams does make it more likely that you will win. So I mean, I'm not saying that they would have been so cutthroat or whatever, but but in all the past seasons, because they had given that third place team the strike in essence and didn't do it here, and so it's a different thing.
It's a different thing. It makes you wonder what the thought process, but there have been shows that for seasons that for some reason or another nobody went home for various different reasons. But you're absolutely right. Not I don't believe with immunity. I think you're correct with that. So it's going to be very
I mean, Team Red would have would have
did they-
gotten a strike. Yeah,
Yeah.
Team Red would have
Right,
gotten the
right.
strike. So that was their first one anyway. but-
Right, yeah.
Or if Team Black had not dilly-dallied and actually truly come in third and Red came in fourth,
Mhm.
would Red have gotten the strike?
Yeah.
I really feel like it was a tactic to, they just planned it that way. I just feel like where producers told them to, take their time, or reminded them, hey, if you come in last, nobody's going to get a strike. I don't know. I'd
Well,
be anxious to ask.
You wonder too, because I don't think, I mean, the producers aren't trying to rig the show. That's not
No.
But it makes for a better show the more teams you have on there too. And they've worked so hard, and they want them to find the relatives too. And so,
and they want to please their audience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I even got a little conspiracy theory going that with these mystery awards that they can really just wait till the last minute and say what they mean.
Exactly.
They might not have known when the week started. They might be deciding this stuff on the fly.
Yeah, let's see how this thing goes.
That's
a
why
game day
they're mystery,
decision.
because they don't know what they need to be able to give a team to help them move forward. So, well, what did they choose this week?
They chose
the
Breathless.
Breathless. Yeah.
And I can't exactly remember what Dan said.
He said,
Yeah.
hope that your opponents can't hold their breath for very long, or something like that. So
or
maybe
he said that to the other people. He's told the opponents hope that blue team can't hold their breath very long.
Okay. So my guess is they probably get extra time for however long they can hold their breath.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Who knows?
Not going to be a lot of time.
I know, because you pass out if you.
I wonder if that'll be part of the challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably what it's going to be as part of the challenge. Yeah. So fun.
I think it'll be underwater.
Because they've done water challenges before. Huh.
I'm thinking of one of those carnival games where someone sits on a plank and you have to throw a ball and hit the thing and they go down in a tank.
That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. That would be a lot of fun. Yeah. Yeah. So we get to day 5 and we get a happy surprise and nobody goes home. So that's wonderful. That is really wonderful. And no new strikes. So all in all, it was a good day. They got to meet relatives. They got to move forward their stories forward. We found a new game for the family reunion book. So it was a win-win all the way around, right?
Yes.
I'm starting to get a little bit weary of cousins. I want some big family names to come in next.
It's like Dan always says, okay, here's another second cousin 3 times removed. Let's find some moms and dads and brothers and sisters for some
Forget
of those.
the nickel and dime business here.
Yeah, exactly.
We want the silver dollars.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of Dan, we've had some people say, where's Dan? We've missed him. And he's just had a lot of family things going on. And he was supposed to be showing up tonight and said, I'll be there. So something must have happened. So,
I mean, as of, 30 minutes ago, he was going to be here 10 minutes ago. So,
So,
and then speaking of the other Dan the man on the show, he put out a video about his and updating us on his, his health, which seems to be going very well, which I was glad to hear that.
Yeah, definitely.
It's good.
Yeah.
I think and GenFriends would like to send him good health, and we're glad that he's doing so well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he looks good, and I'm just really happy for him. Really happy for him. So, and maybe I can if I can find it, I will link it to this in case people haven't seen it. And so
that's a good idea.
I'll link that video. So anything else about day 5 that we didn't talk about that you want to talk about? I'm sure that we missed something, and we're sorry if we did. We try hard to remember all the things.
I think you hit it all. I think, yeah.
Well, we want people to watch it themselves, so it's good to miss a little something.
So if they want to watch it, they, we didn't tell all. Well, we've already told who won, but still, yeah. So, but as always, we love your comments. We love the questions that you ask, and we're grateful that I need to tell Bernice too, because I was told they really miss Bernice, and where the heck has Dan been? So so I need to let them know. So it's just
And both renditions of Dan are missing.
Yeah, that's right. Aowen she went back to school, and so hopefully once she gets done with school, she can start, and they'll show up at the same time. And Dan's theory that they're both the same
They
person.
won't. It's the same person.
They can't be disproved. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I thank my lovely, wonderful panel for keeping me awake, and
don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button, please.
yes, please, and share with your friends, and we'd love to read your comments. So get on and let us know what you felt about day 5. Because I love hearing that too. We love hearing what you have to say about the things that are going on, and we will see you next time on GenFriends with day 6 of Relative Race. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.